Oh, hello, fellow comic book lovers, collectors, and aficionados. Vin Crew here with, well, it's not a bitch this week. What I'm going to do is I'm not feeling very well. I'm kind of under the weather, and I wanted to do this for, I reached 400. I'm going to do a contest for 450 subscribers. Last time I looked, I was at 449. Might lose one, might gain one, but you can either give me a mulligan or call me a liar, I guess. Either way, but I'm just going to go ahead and do 450. It seems like some of these contests are winding down, so maybe I could sneak one in real quick, and I might get a few submissions. So I'll go ahead and touch on that in a little bit here. But before we get started, I just wanted to show off some stuff that I got in the mail here from some awesome YouTubers. The first one is from Jockusnerdius, Sam. He did a contest a while back, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the winners. So I got my package from him, and I received Gambit #1. I do have the gold version of this, so that book, this version will go along nicely with that. Gambit #2 of the same series, Aliens versus Predators versus the Terminator #4. Now, I know you're a big Aliens and Predator and Terminator guy, so I got to do some research on this one, but it looks really cool, so appreciate that. And then these two are really awesome, man. I love these. This first one is The Preacher, Dead or Alive. What it is, it's a hardcover by Glenn Fabry, and what it does is it goes through every single one of the covers of Preacher 1 through 66, plus the specials. I think there's something with Wizard in there, and it's his interpretation of how he came up and was inspired to create these covers. And there's excerpts and quotes from Garth Ennis in this too, so it's really, really cool. And the last one, I'm not going to be able to get the whole thing in there, but this is a CGC. This one was the coolest thing to me. I love these kind of things. This is an the yellow ash can that came out in, I want to say it's 94 for Evil Ernie Resurrection #1. There was a yellow one and a blue one. In this one, it's a qualified because it wasn't witnessed as a signature. But there's two signatures on here. I know this one is Stephen Hughes. Not sure who this is. I want to say it might be Polito. I'm not sure, though. Maybe you could tell me, Sam, on that. But that is awesome. I absolutely love this. So that is cool. And I will put a link, not a link, but I'll put a name for his channel so you guys can check him out. He's just one of the great YouTubers. All right, hope you're feeling better too, Sam. All right, and then the next trade that I did was with a good friend of mine. I think everybody knows about him. This is Matt, Comic Quarter 410, one of the best guys around, nicest guys, most knowledgeable. I mean, my God, he has a mammoth collection. I fall for information to him all the time. So, and these were stuff he threw in just over and beyond the trade, which is really cool. This is Detour #1 by Ed Brubaker. Haven't had a chance to research that yet, but it's Ed Brubaker, man. That's enough said. A couple of Titanics. I'm not really familiar with this. I think they came out in 94 or 80. Yeah, 99, 94. It's issue #1, but it's 2 covers of it. And Matt was telling me there's 4 covers. I have to do some more research on that. Conan, Giant Size #1, #2, #3, and #4, so that's really cool. And then the last one he threw in was Soulfire Volume 5 #1, the Stormwatch comic retailer version. Very, very cool. Beautiful cover on that one, so thank you. And then these are the books that we actually traded for. George Perez Sirens #1. This is Baltimore Comic Con 214 exclusive. Beautiful cover on that. Batman and Robin #1. This is a second print, but hey, it's still good enough for now. So I can find a first print. Also did Epic Illustrated. This is #14. What's cool about this one is it has Michael Moorcock's Elric of Melniboné and a special preview of Revenge of the Jedi. So very, very cool about that. Marvel Super Special 29. And I think, as most of you know, these Marvel Super Specials, a lot of them were focused on movies that came out. They did like 2001 Space Odyssey, Howard the Duck, this one, among many others. But so thank you. Marvel Preview number, what is that, 15? Yep, with Star-Lord, very cool. And number 18, another Star-Lord. And these are the two books that really I'm the most excited to have, and I cannot thank you enough for these, Matt. The first one is The Hunger Dogs by Jack Kirby. Now, if you're not familiar with this, I would put this in the same category of must-haves as The Death of Captain Marvel and God Loves, Man Kills, Marvel graphic novels. DC actually followed suit with Marvel and did some graphic novels, and I think they did 7 or 8 of them. And this, by far, is the one that's the most sought after and desired. What this is it's either the second to the last or the last actual story, original story for the Fourth World anthology that Kirby created when he came to DC. And it's not how he wanted to button this up. He wanted to kind of just put a bow on it, no more dark side, that sort of thing. But DC said no. They wanted to retain the ability to revisit it in the future. This was the best compromise they could come up with. So, but it's very cool. A great read, and thank you. And then this book right here, this is World War Hulk #1. This is the Aspen Comics variant. It's limited to 2,500, and most importantly, it's done by Michael Turner, the late Michael Turner. I know you featured this, Matt, in your contest submission for Hero Hunter 81's book. So very cool. Thank you so much, Matt. I will put the info for your channel down on below. So please, I can't believe if you haven't subbed to me that you are not subbed to Matt. But in case you aren't, you can check him out. All right. So moving along here. All right. So I'm not going to do a full-blown bitch. To be honest, though, I really could. I bought about 450 books last week. I'll go into that next week when I do my bitch, my back issue comic haul. So, but hey, wanted to show you this. I got it. Yay! My Cowboy Ninja Viking #1. I just watched a auction close on eBay on a #1 of this that closed 2 days ago, and it sold for over $50. So, guess it's still pretty hot and heavy on this. I mean, if Chris Pratt can do a good job on this, or in Jurassic Park and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he's going to be a bankable star. Maybe this thing might see some legs. I don't know. But now moving on to the obligatory, there really wasn't any movie or TV news per se that I could see. Kind of slow with it being Thanksgiving and all that. There's some ramblings about the Walking Dead stuff that I need to decipher first before I go into that. But a couple of things, 3 things that I found interesting. Let me grab my little thing right here. Sorry, I dropped that. Dropped my notes here. But this first one here is, this is the all-new X-Men #1. And the reason I'm pointing this out is that this is the first appearance of Eva Belle Tempest, I believe is how you pronounce her name. And for some reason, Marvel, they're saying, is really going to start pushing her. I don't know a lot about her, but this is a book that's very cheap and easy to acquire. So I would maybe suggest if you see it in a dollar bin, check it out. Once again, I'm not a speculator. I'm not an expert on comics. All I do is love to read the various sites out there, and I'll pass along any information that I can. So this one here is Amazing Spider-Man 418. Bleeding Cool did a spin on the, or an article on this, and the reason that this is showing a slight uptick is that this is the first appearance of the child Mayday Parker. It was shown as being stillborn, unfortunately, and but what they're speculating is that Mayday is going to possibly be the 3rd totem of the Spider-Verse. I'm not reading the Spider-Verse yet, so I don't know what that means exactly, but apparently it's Scion is the name of it, and that Mayday Parker could possibly be that one. So this book is showing some uptick. And then the last book is, this is Detective 501, and the reason, once again, there was an article done on this, an interesting article, and this book is starting to see some action in the back market, back issue stuff. This is the first appearance of Julia Pennyworth, which is Alfred Pennyworth's daughter. And apparently DC is looking at really starting to make her more prominent in the DC New 52 universe. They are even throwing out things like the new Oracle, that sort of a thing with her. So if you can, try to look this up. It's a very inexpensive issue. First appearance of Julia Pennyworth. So, all right. And then before we get on to the contest, I just wanted to clarify one last thing. When I did my first undervalued book, I showcased Brave and the Bold 79, and I mentioned that that book was the first work done on Batman by Neal Adams. Now, I knew that he had done Batman 200, which came out in May of '68, and Brave and the Bold came out in September of that year, which kind of made me a little bit hesitant to state that. But then I went, not only did I read that that was his first work, the 79 on Brave and the Bold was his first work, not only read it on CBD, I read it on Wikipedia, I read it on Comic Vine, and I read it on a fourth site. So, I mean, one site, two sites, yeah, they could be wrong and lying or whatever, or misinformed. 3 sites, you kind of start thinking, well, maybe there's some validity. And 4 sites, I mean, I'm like, wow, that's the only reason I went along with it. So if anybody can tell me why so many sites are saying that Brave and the Bold is the first work on Neal Adams did on Batman, whereas these chronologically really are. This is the first cover by Neal Adams for Brave and the Bold. This is issue 75. And then the first cover and interior works of Batman by Neal Adams was in World's Finest 175, which all came out before Brave and the Bold 79. So, all right. So enough with that. Let's get on to the contest here. Before I get started, I just want to thank every single one of you guys. I cannot do 400 and some people individually, but everybody that has subscribed to me, I perfectly understand that you chose to subscribe to me and you choose to watch my videos. I hope you find them entertaining. I hope you find them somewhat informative. And I want to thank you for watching my videos and putting up with my bitching, my back issue comic hauls. So, yeah, so this is just my way of saying thank you. Now, these are some of the books I'm going to give away. And before we get into the books, I suppose we should do the rules. 1, you have to be subscribed to me. 2, you have to be 18 or older unless you have parent permission. And I will mail anywhere in the world. Now, with that being said, I may scale back if it does get to be too expensive. I'm sorry. I'm not super wealthy. I don't have a lot of money. So I would probably switch out some of the books and make it, you know, even somehow, but to get the weight down and the price down a little bit. And then you must be breathing. That's about it, I think. So, all right, let's get on to some of the books I'm going to give out here. Now, these are just some of them. These are books I just pulled out before I started this, so I'm going to find some more. But this is the Secret Origins number 14. This book is showing some real legs in the back issue market right now. This is actually the second appearance of the current Suicide Squad of the modern age, not the current, but the modern age one. This actually falls between Legends 3 and Suicide Squad number 1. So, all right. Green Lantern 20, the last Jeff Johns issue, and the first Jessica Cruz, I believe her name is, who could show up in the movie. I'm going to do What If number 108. This is the last and third part of the Carnage Surfer trilogy there, where it's Amazing Spider-Man 430 and 431. I'm going to throw in some early Deadpool stuff. Here's Silver Sable 30. Great cover on that one. Early Daredevil or Deadpool. Here's Deadpool versus on Cable 32. World War Hulks with Deadpool. GLA number 1. This is the second appearance of Squirrel Girl. Superman 106. Excuse me, 161. This is Emperor Joker, and it's got Harley Quinn on the cover right there. I don't ever see anybody really bring that up. I had a couple extra ones, so threw it in there. What the heck? Grimjack number 26. This is the first or second color appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I'm throwing that one in there. Witchblade #1, first appearance of Witchblade. Coyote #11, this is the first McFarlane work in comics. And the last one for sure right now is Sunfire and Big Hero 6. This book, somebody on YouTube paid $50-some for this book alone. So it's a pretty hot and heavy book, I guess. So I'm going to throw in some other ones. I just got to find them. But let's get on to the questions, all right? Okay, so question #1 is I want you to throw on your Nostradamus or your speculating hat. And I want you to throw out one or maybe two things that you think is going to happen in the comic industry or the comic world in the next, let's just say 2-3 years or whatever the case is. Here's mine. Maybe it's more of a hope than it's an actual prediction, but what I think is Marvel's going to take back the rights to all their characters from Fox and Sony and whatnot, of the X-Men, Spider-Man for sure, Fantastic Four, and they're either just going to break the contract with these other companies or they're going to find some way. I mean, Disney and Marvel's getting too big right now, and these movies are too powerful and too much of a money generator to have Fox and Sony and whatnot keep screwing them up as badly as they do, especially the Fantastic Four franchise. So I've got a feeling they're going to take back some of it, all of it, and they're just going to either do it or somehow figure out a way that'll make everybody happy. All right, question #2, kind of along the same lines is, do you think there's a bubble in the industry right now? And if so, why do you think so? So in what I mean by a bubble, similar to what maybe happened in the 90s where everybody was hoarding #1s. The artists were kind of driving things. It was a different world. And then maybe even so much with the recession in 2008 where the floor just dropped out from the comics. All right. Now, question #3 is if you could make a suggestion or a plead or whatever, and please, I mean, don't get too crazy with this. I mean, be realistic. Is if you can make a suggestion or whatever to the big three, Marvel, DC, and Image, on something that they could do to improve their position with us as readers, what would you suggest? And for me, Marvel, it would have to be stop rebooting your series every 30 issues. Come on now. It's just, I understand that it gives people a jumping on point, but do it with new storylines, that sort of a thing. I just think you disenfranchise a lot of us old stalwarts. And so with DC, my hope is that they really put a lot of thought into this new big thing that they've got. I think it's called Convergence, where it's going, their crossover for the spring, April and May, I believe it is. April and May, where for 8 weeks they're not even going to put out any issues of the regular series. They're just going to focus on this crossover, from what I understand. And what they're going to do is they're going to explain why they haven't followed up with some of the characters and some of the storylines that existed before the New 52 into the New 52. So it sounds really interesting. It sounds like a great premise, and I really hope that they put a lot of forethought into this. The New 52 has been relatively spot on. So, all right. And then for Image, stop with all the new series is my suggestion. I think it's just way overkill now. I mean, there are some weeks where you're putting out as many as 4 different series, new series, and it's just getting to be too much. And it's just, you had a great thing going there for speculators and collectors where you were putting out one new series every couple weeks, that sort of a thing. So, all right. Okay, now this next question, I didn't know how else to frame it, and I was somewhat hesitant to ask the question, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because it's a question that gets asked quite often, but I wanted to try to put it in a different frame, a different light. And what I want you to do is think that we're in a world where there's no cameras and no computers and no way for you to make real life pictures, all right? And you have found out that you have contracted a terminal illness, and all the comic artists and all the comic creators in the world have found out about this, and they kind of rallied around you, and they gave you the choice that you could choose any artist, one artist alive or dead, to do a portrait of you that would be the only portrait that you would have, that your family would have to remember you by. So my choice is going to be Alex Ross. Now, Alex Ross is not my favorite artist, but I think that he would do the best job in putting me as a in a real life type of thing. So that's why I'm choosing him. And once again, I'm not trying to be callous. I'm not trying to make light of any person's situation in the YouTube community by any means. I'm just trying to figure out a way to put this question in a different frame of light. So and then the last question is, it's a four-parter, but I would like you to make a choice. If you were given, you could choose one of these two books, and they're both the same condition. They're both whatever 9.0s or whatever the case is, and you could choose one of each of the two of these four. The first one would be Showcase number 4 or Fantastic Four number 1. So it'd be the book that ushered in the Silver Age with the Flash, or the book that ushered in the Marvel Age with Fantastic Four number 1. Second one would be Batman number 1 or Amazing Spider-Man number 1. Not Detective 27 and not Amazing Fantasy 15, but Batman number 1 and Amazing Spider-Man number 1. The third one would be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1 from the 84, not Gobbledygook number 1, not their first appearance, but their first series, or The Walking Dead number 1 from 2003. The last one would be New Mutants 98 or Batman Adventures 12. So, I'm not going to say Batman Adventures 12. I'm going to say Batman Harley Quinn, the black cover one, the first appearance in modern continuity. So, New Mutants 98 and then Batman Harley Quinn, the black cover. So, once again, all of these books would be the same condition. Let's just call them 9.0s. You could only choose one of the two of them, and why you would choose them. Maybe it's because it's your favorite character. Maybe it's because you think you're going to sell it down the road, or it's an investment purpose for your family. Whatever the case, I'm just curious as to why you would choose the one that you choose out of each of those four. And then the contest, we'll give it, let's just say I will do the drawing on, the 28th of December. Does that sound good? That's almost 4 weeks from now. Close to 4 weeks. So let's just say December 28th. So this, once again, I want to thank everybody for watching my stuff and subscribing to me. This is Vin Cruz signing off.